In this tutorial, we show you how to make a lava lamp, and if we press play, this obviously hasn't been rendered out. You can see the particles move quite nicely and give a realistic lava lamp look and feel. Obviously, I'm viewing it through cycles because I don't know how to view it through Eevee. Anyways, please don't forget to like and subscribe, and let's get started. Step number 1, select the default cube, press X and delete it. Numpad 1, Shift A, and we're going to add a cylinder. Once you add a cylinder, press Tab, then press G to grab, Z on the Z axis, and 1. Once you've done that, press Tab to go into object mode. And now when you scale this up, when you press S to scale and you press Z on the Z axis, well, let's first scale it out a little bit, make it a bit thicker to about that. And then we press S, Z, and just level it up. We're going to make this the core cylinder. Once you got the size that you like, I'm quite happy with this. I'm going to right click Shade Smooth, Object Data Properties, Normals, Auto Smooth at 30. I'm quite happy with that. It's looking creme de la creme. Next thing we want to do is press Tab to go into edit mode. Press Ctrl R, and let's give it 5 cuts, should be fine. Right click, then press 2 to choose Edge Select, and holding Alt and select these edges here. Let's turn on proportional editing so we can get the shape we're looking for. I believe the sphere would be the best shape. And let's turn on proportional editing, and then we press S and we just scale this out. And we scroll the mouse wheel out as well. We can get an interesting shape. I'm quite happy with that shape. Press Tab to go into object mode. Yep, that's looking pretty cool. And one thing we will do to this is add a material quickly. And the glass material is over here. And I'd make this to 1.33 and make the roughness 0.2 or 0.1. 0.2 should be fine. If you want to see how that looks, it won't look that great because we are on Eevee, but if you switch over to cycles, you go to the render view, it looks pretty good. You can't tell now because there isn't enough there, but it's working. Right, let's go back to the material viewport. Actually, we're going to go to the wireframe mode, and we've got our shape. We're going to call this, well, it's already called cylinders. Let's just create a new collection, chuck it in there for now, and we'll deal with that later. Next thing we want to do is create a new collection for all our gel, right? Our lava lamp gel. And we're going to press Shift A, Mesh, and once you've selected Mesh, you want to go down to, hold on, metaballs. Here we go. We want to choose a metaball over here. And this is the primary thing we're going to use for this. So we can, if you're happy with the look of one, let's first choose the default color initially. And for the first color, I'm going to use an emission. And my style in this example is going to be a nice, very close to canary yellow. Something like that will look pretty good, and just make the emission strength at least 3, and that should be good. And then all we have to do is press Shift D, and we can duplicate this a few times, and you can obviously scale this in different ways to get interesting shapes. And all you have to do is press Shift D the whole time, and just you can scale it up, and we can choose this one again. So we've got this metaball, and this metaball, and we just press Shift D, and we can bring one up here. Perhaps scale it out a bit, and press Shift D. Scale this one down here like that. Shift D, and Shift D. I think one more should be fine. One lone wolf over there. There we go. Now we've got about 7 metaballs in here, and we go into the render view. We can see it all looks like that. And perhaps, don't worry about the ends that are by the glass. We're going to remove that so it won't be visible. But one thing we probably want to do is just play around with this color quickly, just to get a, yeah, that's a little bit better. But you can choose, if you want to make it red, you can make it red, but we're going to choose yellow. We're quite happy with that. Now that we've got the color that we like, which is a much richer yellow, so we're going to have to select all these metaballs like that, and with them all selected, I held in shift and selected them all. I'm going to press I, location, rotation, and scale. So they've all got a keyframe, which can make life a lot easier in a second. But before I move on, let's just create the covering bits here. So I'm going to select this. I'm going to press Tab to go into edit mode. I press Alt and select this end here, and numpad 1, and I'm going to press Shift D, right click, then right click, and then separate selection. Then press Tab to go into object mode, and we're going to choose the separate selection. We're going to call this bottom, right? And all we have to do now is press Tab to go into edit mode, press 3 for face select, choose this face, numpad 1, press E to extrude, ES, and I don't know, something like this should be more than fine, more than adequate. And if you want, you could select these, press 2 for edge select. You could select these edges here and press Control B and just bevel them if you prefer. And I guess we'll do that to some of them here, just to give them some shape. And yeah, I'm quite happy with that. And press Tab to go into object mode, and we're going to remove the glass material off that, and we're going to add a new material here. And we'll just select a, you know what, let's select a, it's yellow. What goes well with yellow? White, actually. Let's go for white. That should be good. And if we go to the material viewport, yeah, it looks good. And we'll just use the same one. So now we're just going to go over here. We're going to press copy material, and we're going to go to the top here. Select this, press Tab to go into edit mode, hold in Alt and select all these edges here. Press Shift D to duplicate, right click again, separate selection, Tab to go into object mode, and let's choose the separate section and call this top. Now obviously the cylinder part is the middle. So now that we've got the top, we can press E, or press Tab to go into edit mode. E, wait, let's press select it. Hold on, let's just try and go into wireframe mode so we can see what's going on. 3, Control Z, and we're in object mode now. And we select this top, and we press Tab to go into edit mode. We press 3 to choose face select, and we choose this face. There we go, numpad 1. And first thing we do is press ES and just drag it out a little bit like that, and then E, click E. Oh, hold on, turn off proportional editing would help. S, and we can go ES. E, Control B, and we've got our shape. And now that we're happy with that, we're in object mode. We can remove this existing material, we can add a new material, and we can paste the material we copied, which is this white. So when we go to render view mode, it's not showing the white, but we'll have to fix that in a second. Right, now the next thing we want to do before, well, first let's sort out this. I think it's to do with the lighting. Let's click on the lighting, change it to sun, and press the squiggly line just to find where the light source is. Zoom out, numpad 7, let's chuck it over here for a second, numpad 1. Well, numpad 7 should be better actually, just rotate it there. Actually, let's rotate it in the angle of the camera, and let's make the camera visible, and we're probably going to have to fix the camera quickly so it's in a better position. Right, so I'm probably going to just press numpad, pull this out, back. Let's turn on these lines here, numpad 1. You know what, it's better just to find an angle I like this, and once you find an angle you like, Control Alt numpad 0. Then press G just to get this in better frame. But to be honest, do I like this? Or do I want to see it more? Probably want to see it from this angle here. Control Alt numpad 0. Yep, that gets the core essence of the shot. Probably just center it a little bit better. And I'm quite happy with that. Okay, cool. So I'm quite happy with the look of this so far. And the lighting is okay, the camera is done. And if we render this out, let's go to our render settings. We're using cycles, so we can just, I'd probably just add adaptive sampling to this, and I think we're ready to go. So let's render the first image out. Alright, so we've created our lava lamp, but you probably want to animate it. So let's work on that now. We've already added those keyframes, so obviously you can add your own background and all that jazz. And if you're going to render it out, you probably want to render it out with a transparent background. But besides for that, let's do a few cool things to this to make it look way cooler. Number one, let's change the frame. Let's go to frame 100. And numpad 1, and let's decide what goes where. So obviously the heating element heats up these bubbles. So I'm going to just hide that for now. And I'm just going to move these things to where they will be at frame 100. Location, rotation, and scale. You can also place them on and add the keyframe, which I think I'll do. I'm just going to add them where I think they should be. So we're going to move them all into place. And there was one at the back here that we probably want to. And maybe just bring this up a little bit more. Like that. And then we just have to select all of them like this. Shift and select all of them, and then just press, because we have them in the collection, it's easy to target them. Just press I, location, rotation, and scale. So now when we go back to frame 1, we can see how fast they move. And one might think that they move a little too fast, so maybe we say, you know what, instead of 100, let's move this here to 150, and make sure you only select the individual keyframe, and then bring this back down to 1. Here we go. So now when we press play, alright, so what we could do, let's go back to frame 50 quickly. Or let's go back to frame 1 and just see what is what. Location, rotation, and scale. And if we go to frame 50, so we want it somewhere there. So it just moves a little bit at a different speed. Shift D. So now when we go back and play, And obviously one thing we have to keep in mind, these smaller particles in a lava lamp move probably a little bit faster than the larger particles. So let's keep that in mind. So let's select these larger particles. And let's move this one to, well, where does it go in the end? Let's go all the way to 150. It goes about there. Perhaps it goes to about there. This goes to about, yeah. This goes to about there. And this goes further down. And let's select all of them again. Make sure we're on frame 150 and press I, location, rotation, and scale. So let's go back and let's play. There we go. So the faster ones are moving faster, which makes sense. Yeah, that looks a little bit more real. And then we can decide at, I don't know, 250. We can say, let's move them again quickly. Make these bigger ones go down there. Go down there. Go down there, and let's choose a couple of these that are not so visible. Okay, and now we just select them all again. This will probably look a little bit too funny, but why not? You can kind of play with this and kind of get the core principle behind this. So we've got the big ones moving nice and slow. Smaller pieces moving a little bit faster. And I'm quite happy with that. Now, the next thing you probably want to do is possibly have a color change. So let's quickly do that. So if you're not going for this awesome effect that I've gone for, which is the emission approach, the alternative approach is we select this, we press tab to go into edit mode, press 3 for face select, we choose this top face here, we press shift D, left click again, separate selection, and once we've separated selection, we go to the material settings, we remove this material, well, press tab to go into object mode, then we choose this one, we remove the material, we add a new material, and we're going to add an emission material, and the emission material we're going to add is going to be a light like this, but it's going to be at a strength of possibly 5. And then what we do with the rest of this is, for the effect to work properly, we select it and we change it from emission to, well, glossy should work in theory. So if you made this red, numpad 1, the only issue we have to do here is we'll probably need to select this bottom piece here. Well, let's just do it at the top as well. So it's light on both ends. We press tab to go into edit mode, 3 to choose face, choose this face here, and then press shift D, right click, separate selection, tab to go into object mode, choose this new top piece here, remove this material, add a new material, choose an emission material, and you can copy and paste the other one, which we'll do. We'll just go to the bottom material here and copy material, and we'll go to now we move to the top material and we paste. And it should give that somewhat lifelike effect, which will look should look pretty cool. What happens if we just make this 10? 10 is probably closer to home, so I'm going to leave it on 10. And all we need to do is add the cylinder back, and then we can decide whether we want to make it stronger or weaker. One thing I want to do with the cylinder, just to try something out. Well, anyways, that's the end of this tutorial. So if we press play, you get that natural effect that looks really cool. If you've got a good graphics card, you could watch it in real time. It doesn't take a lot of power. I'm using a crappy laptop. Right, so what we could do is we could take this cylinder here. We could press Shift D, left click, and we probably want to just scale this puppy in. I'm going to do something which is I probably shouldn't do. This might not work. I want to clarify. And we're going to go to the materials, the physics properties. We're going to click fluid, and we're going to choose a flow, and we're going to change it to liquid, and we're just going to leave it as is. The only thing we have to do with the material, which is crucial, make the roughness 0, and choose maybe an interesting color like a blue. The only thing you probably have to do is really ramp up this to maybe 50 for it to work well. To be honest, it could look nice, but I'm not gonna mess with that. Let's delete that. Oh, my cylinder's shape I messed with. Damn it. It's supposed to be 0.2, and it's supposed to be white. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There we go. That's looking a lot better. Well, I'm going to leave it like that. Anyways, please don't forget to like and subscribe. I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I have.